gonna have to come.
Okay.
That chair better? On the 28th, Stephanie Letty, there's a bunch of people from every tech that are coming over here at 1 o'clock. So there's gonna be a bunch of people. So that's just gonna be our meeting on the Thursday. Just wanna meet everybody. Yeah, right. I'm one that needs to be stopped in this room.
Eva, do you happen to have V and Joycey there with you, or are we waiting on them?
He is here.
Yeah,
He'll jump on. Joycey is with me.
Oh, okay, okay. Then we shall get
I put a
started.
note in the chat. I'm sorry, you probably hadn't seen
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah, no, I did not. Perfect. Okay. Gary staff is not able to join us, and most of South Bend staff is not able to join us either. So we shall get started. I am going to go.
I'm here.
I said most. I said most. Hi, Mike.
Oh, okay.
But I said most.
But I'm driving, so.
I kind of figured that. I may or may not mute you just because there is
Oh, yeah.
some background
Okay,
noise. Okay, that works too. Okay, let's get started then. Here we go. Everything's still showing up there? Yes. I'm going to go kind of fast just because I don't want to go until 4, and I know that this is being recorded. So sorry if I lose anybody. I will take questions at the end though. Feel free to jot them down as we go along. Let's get started. Follow-up coaches meeting. Woo! So what topics are we covering today? We've got different reports and courseware that I want to show you guys. I'm just going to show you, I have it all linked, but I'm not going to actually play the video. I did create a tutorial video for going over the more detailed scores in ExactPath for those conversations with teachers where it's like, the student isn't quite in that Lexile range for the class, but I want to see if they can do this, and you can look at that. So like I said, I won't play that, but it is here. It's embedded. I will share this this PowerPoint with you, so you'll have it as well. We'll go over some ExactPath new curriculum scheduling examples that was requested of me just because it can get a little confusing, and that's totally fair. Very last parts will be some upcoming dates, very important to keep in mind. And I know we don't have like half of our coaching staff here, so I will just kind of put out some things, get some feedback from this meeting, and then after this meeting, I will also send out a form. That way everybody has a say in when we meet next. I'm going to try to meet with coaches once a term so we can just continue training on different things. Specifically, courseware and ExactPath are the big ones, but if something else comes up where you guys want something specific, especially with Synergy, we can definitely do that. So our reports and courseware. There are 2 really important ones that I think coaches can utilize a lot. There's the learner daily usage, which actually shows the time spent, the time logged in, what they did. Then there's the graphic learner progress, which is a nice, easy snapshot of, yeah, this student is really close to completing. This student isn't anywhere near close to completing or anywhere in between. And it'll show you all of the students. I will go over where to find some other reports. I'm not going to go into detail with all of the reports that are in there just because there's a lot, but I'll show you where you can find them and you can play around with them yourselves. The very last part of that will be scheduling reports. There's a very specific place with 6 or 7 different reports that you can pull and have it pull on a routinely basis. So the first way is perhaps the easiest way. You go to Admentum Sensei or your landing page, when you first log in. You click on students at the top. You can filter by the instructor if it's not already set to you for some reason. So for me, obviously, I don't have any classes, so it doesn't show any students, but I can switch to, say, Stephanie, and I can see all of the classes that she's assigned to and all of the students in there. So we have, like I said, we have our learner daily usage, which, as you can see right below, shows that it's monitoring the time the students spend on their activities. And then the graphic learner progress, like I said, is just it's a bar graph of where they are. So all of these have some sort of description. They'll be in a little bit of a different place each time. A lot of them have start and end dates or other filters to really make sure that you are honed in on what you want to see and nothing else. And then most of them have 2 different file formats, either a PDF or a spreadsheet. For our not data savvy people, you will be happy to know that I would recommend the PDF for almost every single spreadsheet, or not spreadsheet, every single report that you will pull from Edmentum. They are very nice to look at. And unless you are sifting through tons and tons and tons of data looking for something very, 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 very specific or a specific pattern and trying to play around with numbers like I would do, you don't even need the spreadsheet. And then there's also the create report button at the bottom there. Once you have created your report, it shows up on the side, onto that right side of the page. It'll say processing, and unfortunately, it doesn't just automatically change to download. You do have to push that refresh button to get it to say download. I don't know why. It's kind of weird, but you check in a couple of minutes later, push refresh, it'll be there. And like it says, it will keep those all listed for 7 days. So if you accidentally delete out of it and you want to come back to it the next day, you can. They'll still be listed there. So the daily learner usage, or learner daily usage, what does this report look like? Your very first one is going to have a list of every single student in your program that's assigned to you. Depends on where you're looking at this report. Where I just pulled it from, that's going to be all of the classes that are assigned to you, which should be all of them in both the old programs and the new program, up until I archive the old program, and then it'll just be the new program. Did that make sense? Okay, good. It'll show all of the students, and you want to specifically pay attention to the total time on activities. Since you can set the date range, this is a really, really, really great way, an easy way to tell if your student can be marked present or not for the week, right? Because you can set your parameters to just the past week. Look at the total time on activities. If it's 25 minutes or more, present. If it's not 25 minutes, unfortunately, it's an absence and excused. The second page, well, second page here, but after going through all of your students on the first page, it will have specific to student. That's something that if you really want to, you could print out. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I don't see much of a point in printing it out. Students kind of already know if they've completed things or not. But it's there. That's why I pointed out. Why are you laughing at me?
Yeah, just like the students will do. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, yeah, there's that too.
whatever.
Well, then we come to our next one, this graphic learner progress. This one doesn't have any time frame. This is just whatever students you already have. This is a report for it. So you click on that same area, Edmentum Sensei, students, make sure your name is listed, push create report. And then it looks more like this. It will create a row for each student and each class that they are in. So you'll have multiple if the student is in multiple classes. It'll just be one if it's a single class. This is nice because if you are checking near the end of a term, which is why the timing of this was fantastic, you can quickly print this out, or not even print it out. You could just pull the report and quickly see, okay, this person is completed, this person is not, this person is close, maybe they just need a little nudge, or this person we need to sit down and talk. Alan laughs because he knows that all too well. But that's a nice little visual snapshot for coaches as well. That's why I like this and the other one. There's another way to do this that gives a little bit more detail. If you go to Administration Center where you put in users, the very first part or the very first page that should pull up is reports. I highlighted learner daily usage and graphic learner progress again, but the ones that I will use a lot, and this is why I point this out because there's more reports here, are the credits earned, system usage, and courseware audit report. These things are the pieces that I'm going to start pulling on a more regular basis to make sure that we're doing what we need to do, make sure we're not, falling short on any students. I will pull the courseware audit report right before I archive the program, the old programs, the beginning of this next term, just so that it is in record of where students were at before I archive the program. We do have some sort of proof, some sort of backup. So what does this look like? This is the learner daily usage report. Some of them have some other settings, but you can select the programs or you can select learners. Totally up to you. This isn't where you can schedule it. So going by the program might be a little easier than going by the learner. If you're trying to look up for your whole caseload, that's going to be a lot of students that you are manually entering their names for. I'm going to skip over to the report settings first on the right side. This is going to just depend on what report you're pulling, right? This one still has the start date and end date, your PDF and spreadsheet, and then it does give you the ability to group by a class or a learner. On the flip side, if we did the graphic progress report, you wouldn't have the start and end date. It'll just bring up PDF or spreadsheet and the group by. On the selecting programs, curricula, classes, and assignments side of it, you can carrot down if you want specific classes. So it'll go by the program, the Play-Doh class, what it's called, and then you can select the section itself. And it'll also tell you how many students are in there, which is kind of nice. After you've done all that, you just push Generate Report in the lower right-hand corner. And it'll show as a report, or it'll show all the reports that you are pulling or have pulled in the past 7 days below the reports on the previous screen. Same thing, it won't automatically say download, it'll make you do the refresh. I don't know why, it just does. So some other places to find reports. If you go to your specific program, there are reports on the program snapshot screen. If you go to Manage Courses, each course and each section you can pull reports for. If you go onto the student side of it and scroll to the specific student, there are reports for them. There are reports all over the place. You can play around with them all you like. I just showed you the ones that I think are useful for coaches. If you want to explore more, or if you have some idea of what you want to pull, I can help you look through that. There is one more piece where there are a couple of different reports, and this is where we can also schedule reports with these like 6 or 7, however many it is. There's this nifty little menu button on the side of your program. If you scroll down, it just has like, it'll say like the program as a header, and then it's got that program snapshot. So it's really not that far down. But if you look, there's a reports and a classic reports. Classic reports pulls you to a completely different page. I don't recommend it, but you can look at it and play around with it as you see fit. The reports, however, brings you to this screen. To schedule a report or to just pull one of these reports, which are slightly different than the ones that you will see in other places, you push Create Report up at the top right, and it pops up like this. You always have to name your report. Yes, it is new. That's why I wanted to go through it. You always have to name your report. You can select multiple reports, which is interesting. And if you want to see what each one does, you can just push that View a Sample at the bottom, that purple purple highlighted area, and then go on to the next step. These are also very specific to you, so if you want to name them, I don't know, banana team, go for it. That's all you. You don't have to worry about anybody else seeing it and judging you. So then once you figured out which report you want to pull or which reports you want to pull, you have to choose your students or your courses that you want to look through. This is where, as a coach, you may want to go by student and just pick out your students. Going through it, this is the course. You can carry it down, or you can select all, which I have highlighted yellow here. People online, can you see my mouse?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So for you guys, it's down here. Do you guys see the yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'm not gonna point it out any further. Just want to make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about because it's so small. Or you can select all if you just want to add all of them. Nice and easy. Then you push done and move on. For students, I didn't show it because I didn't want to accidentally pop up a bunch of students. Shocking, but it will give you a place to type in the student name and then you can search. So it's just looking up a student and then it says select and it has like a little checkbox icon next to it. And that's how you do the student side. Next is the scheduling. If it's one time, it won't show any extra pieces to this. If you want it reoccurring though, then it will show the frequency, how many weeks or months or days, depends on what you set it for. What days, what times, what days. You can have it run for the whole school year. You can have it run for just the term for whichever students you have in it. That is entirely up to you. But it is a neat feature. If you would like, you can go at the bottom of this page, you can skip and to review and generate. If you've selected multiple reports, I believe it lets you do scheduling for each individual report. You can also go to the next step, which is report format options. Most of them are going to be the same or similar, and most of them are going to pull or be defaulted to pulling everything. For this one in particular, this is weekly progress report. This is the same as of course, I just blanked on what it was called, but the report that shows the time on task, that number, this is the same thing. It just has a different name. I don't know why. So you can play around with those settings. If you're set with that, then you go to the next step. You're just reviewing what it says, which doesn't actually say all of it, and click generate report. For this one, it'll bring you back to the reports page. And if it was a one-time, it'll be under the current. If it's a scheduled one, it's going to be under the upcoming up here. You select whichever report that you want. If you set up a bunch, it'll show all of the ones that you have that are recurring. It'll say the next time that it's running. And if it's already processed, then you can download it on the right side. Sorry, I forget that you guys can't see my cursor. And then at the bottom of that, if you say you have a student that just joined, right? If you had it set to just your caseload, now you have to either make a whole new report or you can edit it, which is really nice. If you want to run it immediately, right now I have it set for today at 5, but maybe I wanted to pull it already. I can push generate and it won't mess up my my reports that are scheduled. It will still run at 5, but it will run now as well. Or if you're like, I don't need it anymore, you can delete it. Okay, any questions on that so far? Because I know that was a lot. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on then. So the detailed scores and exact path, like I said, I had already made a video It's only 7.5 minutes. You can listen to it in the background and then really zone in when you hear me say something along the lines of, and the more detailed scores are, and I'll show you exactly where. I recommend going through it just for that purpose, because I know that you guys know how to find the lexiles and the quantiles, but these specific breakdowns are really nice for the teachers if they're on that edge. Okay. Now we get to the fun part. This is where you guys get to chime in. Yay! It's kind of like a game, but a game for me because I like these things and not everybody does. So we're going to go through some examples and come up with some ideas, and it's going to be very open, free flow thought. So chime in whenever you think of something. So I started with English just to make it nice and easy. I'll have some examples for each subject or group of classes. Like we have that other, but that's not really it's not really a subject. So English. In this example, or all of these examples, the school is offering English Foundations 1, English Foundations 2, ELA 1 for the next term. You're scheduling, these are your new students, right? So example 1, student A has a Lexile of 500. What should they be in? This one's the nice easy one. I always start with an easy one. What was that, Stephanie? You gotta say it louder so the people on the computers can hear you.
English Foundations 1.
I hope you guys could hear her, but she said English Foundations 1. Yay, nice and easy, because it says it right there. So, student B has a Lexile of 980. Where do we put them? This is where it starts getting interesting.
Either or.
Anybody online want to answer too? Sorry, I find this to be so fun. This was my favorite part of coaching, I think, other than, talking to people. Okay. So, technically speaking, with just their Lexile, they should be in English Foundations too, but they're obviously very close to being able to go into ELA 1 based off of where their Lexile is. This is one where I would probably just talk to the teacher about putting them in ELA 1.
Why?
Because they're so close. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense.
And there's nothing.
Yeah, you have the conversation.
Yes.
Really.
Yes, exactly. It's just a conversation.
Right.
And it might still be that they find them, especially if they're starting to use those exact past scores, it might be one of those things where the teacher says, yeah, they do need to be in English Foundations too. They're not quite ready for ELA 1. And that's easy. It's just a conversation.
Just because the student has a D or D minus class doesn't mean necessarily they've mastered the materials.
Right.
They should be able to go to the next level.
Right. Right. Exactly. So example number 3, student C has a Lexile of 100 and has really bad test anxiety. And they freely said that while they were in the process of testing with us. That's not being offered this year though, or this term.
Oh, then English Foundation 1. Level 1.
It could be a retest. If it, honest to God, it was I just have really bad anxiety.
Resource.
It could be. Or again, you could talk to the teacher about English Foundations 1. And there's probably other things like resource or maybe an independent study. I don't know if you'd do that for that low, but it could be a conversation at a higher level.
That's why you'll definitely get that.
Right, exactly. Like, it's just a conversation.
It's-
These are some ideas.
It's also just.
Oh, yeah.
They're writing stuff.
And they're ready to
Yes.
be in the kind of class.
Yes,
It really depends on the.
exactly.
'Cause
So-
we did that with every student who didn't test well or whatever, they'd still be in English foundation.
Exactly. It's just a conversation, stuff to think about. It was requested to go through some of these things because some of them are not so easy. So this very last one, student D has a Lexile of 1200 and has already passed English 11 in their old high school. What do we put them in?
Yeah, like two.
Neither of those are being offered this term.
Oh,
It's only the ones in red that are, or the, with the red box around them.
Just do that and start there and.
Because they already have,
Skill set,
and they already have a tier 3,
right?
so that it's not like you have to worry about that necessarily. So yeah, I said ELA 1, but there's a lot of things that could happen, or it could be I'm focusing, or they're going to focus on their other classes and then come back to ELA 3 when it's offered, or whatever the case is. Math. So again, the school is offering 3 different classes. They're doing math foundations, pre-algebra, and algebra 1B. I want to make that very clear. This is just 1B. So student A has a quantile of 1,100. Woo! Where did they go? Nice and easy. Mm-hmm. Yep, I made sure that the first one is never a tricky one. That it's just they're nice smack dab in the middle of the range. So student B's quantile is 600. Where do they go? Yeah. Or maybe they are close enough, and this is where we can look at the scores and talk about pre-algebra. Just depends. Student C's quantile is 1,400. They need 1 Algebra 1 credit, and they already passed Algebra 1B in high school. Well, and Algebra 1B, even though we add the B, is still the exact same number for Algebra 1. So they can retake that, and it'll be a bit of a review, but yes, it'll be a good review. And they're still on track to graduating. There's no like repeat craziness going on. Student D has a quantile of 200, but they already took all of their math in high school. This one's a tricky one.
could be that student's been out of school for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
so he needs a refreshment.
But do they?
No, I don't know if they do.
This is a really tricky one. I love this one.
It really depends. It's been really flexible with that aspect, because it talks about the graduation, because. Yeah, when we talk about English, if they're not gonna be in college, you're gonna. Put them in English.
Yep, it's really a conversation with the student at that point. What do you want to do? Are you going to need math? Even if it's not all the way up to algebra 2, maybe you want to go up to algebra 1 just to get that foundation, that piece that you're going to need for, I don't know, whatever they would need. My brain is blanking. And maybe they're like, I'm just going to graduate because I wanted to say that I was, but I'm going back to McDonald's. Okay, cool. More power to you.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, there's. Time.
Yes, that's why I wanted to go through this and have different types of examples.
School.
Oh, yeah.
School expectation or whatever.
Yes, there's a lot of internal as well.
They need ICP.
They have to have algebra. They don't.
Well, hold on. So science examples. The school is offering bio and ICP next term. Student A's lexile is 1,000 and their quantile is 1,000. Since science starts looking at both, once you get to ICP and computer science, I'm going to throw in both. Oh, I should have added that they don't need bio. I mean, yeah, they could go in either.
Here, if they can't go into ICP, we would go unless they had algebra under their belt. Cause there was math in there, so they wouldn't,
Well, their quantile would allow them to be in there.
even without credits, huh? Just saying, that came up here.
Oh, if they haven't taken algebra 1 at all and
Yeah.
their quantile is higher,
I
okay.
get it. Yeah, get all that, I just, yeah.
Yes, that's internal stuff.
Yeah,
That's
that's
up
what
to
I'm
different
saying.
schools.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying or whatever, because it's probably gonna be different in every school, I think,
It could be.
or maybe not, I guess.
It just depends. Conversations to have. But yes, in this case, ICP is the one I was looking for. Yes, if there is you need to be taking algebra, what did you say, algebra 1
They have to-
internally?
You know,
Before they even go.
before they go to ICP, they should take earth, space, science, biology, and then ICP, if in that order here.
Okay.
Due to the aspects. of it.
See, I didn't know that one. That's why I didn't
Yeah,
throw that on there.
Why? Yeah, I don't know if they do in other schools, but I know that's a big issue, competition piece here.
Fair enough.
And thinking Katie, when Katie says they cannot be in earth and space science if they have not taken algebra 1, algebra 2, and geometry.
Oh, okay. She is holding them to a much higher standard then.
Geometry, earth and space science. I can see the ICP with the out.
That's all internal and I didn't even know about that. So sorry, my examples aren't gonna apply as much to you guys, but things to think about. Dr. Anderson, did you have something to say? You look like you might. No, okay, cool. So student B's lexile is 1,100, their quantile is 850, and they're taking algebra 1A. And in this case, why don't we just stick to what it says there, just because I can't go for everybody's internal policies. Sorry. If you have other policies, though, follow those. That is what I shall say. Going to be ICP with a conversation. But it says and concurrent or past algebra 1A. If they are taking algebra 1A, then that's concurrent. That's why I point that out. So anyway, student C's lexile is 500, their quantile is 200, and they already took Earth and Space Science in high school. This is one where there's definitely a couple of answers. One is you could talk with the teacher about whether they can take bio or not if they're ready. Or just tell them, you know what, we're not even gonna worry about science, just focus on English first, because that's really low for anybody. Yeah. Social studies, here we go. So the school is offering financial foundations and US government this next term. Student A's lexile is 1,000 and their quantile is 651. What are we thinking? Financial foundations. Student B's lexile is 1,010, but their quantile is 100. However, they have taken US history and they are taking math foundations. they could take both. Yep, because both have that concurrent or past math foundations. Well, not both. Financial foundations has that concurrent or math past foundations, and then government is just English. So they can take both. Last example for the social studies, student C has a lexile of 500 and a quantile of 1000, which does happen every once in a while. I'm not clicking on the presentation. There we go. Probably focus on English first, or they could take financial foundations if you have that talk with the teacher. Again, these are all not all. The very first one I made easy in each one, but a lot of them are very ambiguous. Like there are a couple of different options. A lot of it comes down to have that conversation. And Stephanie, you're okay, I promise. I see the worried look. It's just conversations. Everybody wants to do the right thing for the student. So our other examples, most of these are nice and easy because they don't have any. My Elkhart team is hating me. It's fine. Anyway, the school is offering health and wellness seminar and senior seminar next term. Student A has a lexile of 500. Yeah. Health and wellness seminar. Internally could be different. Make sure you talk with your team. Student B is an EL student. An English language learner. No, English learner, no language. So usually, this is the unspoken prerequisite. You could talk about that kind of thing. It kind of depends on where they are with their English, right? But probably the safer answer is just to focus on English for now. Student C has a lexile of 500, and they only need an English credit when they come to us. Hey, have you not had somebody that's been passed through the system and then winds up at our door?
Never,
Never.
never. ever, ever.
Because this never happens. Right. So,
Or they come with us with all of their English credits and all of their math credits,
yes.
all of their science credits,
Yes.
Right.
Well,
or just one, right?
we just needed a government and English credit.
Yep.
Yeah. So in this case, in this example, they literally just need an English credit and their lexile is 500. What do we do? This is one of the hardest ones by far because it's oh, what are you gonna do? Yes, for you guys, it's talk to Cami. And it's definitely an ask the student what they want to do, right? Because
Right.
my goodness, that's really rough for the student.
Well, that's what it comes down to. You have time to talking with the student, talking with the teacher, and then talking to the director. At least that's what we do.
Yes.
To really look at the dynamics, because we have situations and circumstances that there is just a lot of gray. So we want to
Yep.
try to support them, but also if we know that they're gonna go work on cars or work at McDonald's or work at Walmart.
How much of
They can
what
do whatever
you
they want
need.
to,
Yeah.
whatever they want to do, but we just, it's like, how much of those types of courses do we want to be able to do? So it's just kind of an ongoing conversation piece, I guess I should say that, we
Yes.
have, so.
Exactly. That was
But we
really the
do
whole
place
point of
them-
this.
We do place them here, correct?
Yes. That was the whole point of of the examples was kind of the bottom line is unless they are obvious right in the middle, which happens, but it doesn't happen nearly as frequently as we wish,
Right.
it ends up being a conversation. Okay.
Good.
So trying to wrap up, we've got our upcoming dates. I just wanted to review real quick. I have the deadline for the T2 schedule as this Friday. And yes, I already know about other things that go on. So if your school has talked to me, it's not a big deal. I've already talked to you. Our section changes goal line is next Friday. Elkhart didn't have any. That's why you guys didn't receive an email, but the other, every other school had had like 2 or 3. We did really fantastic this term, you guys. Just try and get those done as soon as possible. Same as always, I just need to get the buckets made so that the teachers can start posting and getting their end of term stuff done out of the way. Count day! Count day is October 2nd. I know everybody hears that, so that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. The section changes deadline is the day before the end of term 1, which is a Tuesday, October 3rd. The end of term 1 is Wednesday, October 4th. For some of you, you do need to do some grade posting. That's why I bring this up. Grade posting goal line is the day after the end of term, just end of day, like nothing major. The grade posting deadline, however, is the second PD day, aka the last business day before term 2 starts on October 9th. I will be archiving the the no year courseware program sometime during the week of term, sometime during the first week of term 2. I will probably push it to further down the line just because I also need to make sure that everybody is set. I always get questions on the first 2-3 days of each term anyway. Attendance ended up being weird, gradebook ended up being weird. Why is this student there but not here? Kind of questions, the normal. So I will be busy probably. It'll probably be Thursday, Friday, but that is my headline. It is sometime during week 1. It will happen. So make sure your students know that they need to be done on or before October 4th. There are no extensions for this. I have to archive, and once it's archived, they can't go back in and continue. If you believe your student has an extenuating circumstance where they could have their progress applied to the new school year, they won't stay in the old one, they will go to the new one. And that's a really manual, weird thing for me to do. Let's talk about it. If you do send me an email, I need a student name for sure, which class or classes that you think that they should have their progress applied to, and the reason. It doesn't have to be super in depth. I don't need to hear their whole backstory, but if it's a medical reason, just say it's a medical reason. They haven't been able to attend due to a medical reason. The really crazy ones, of course, are like a coma, right? Where they literally cannot. They were working really, really well, and then they got into a car accident or some reason that they need to be in the emergency room, right? You have to have some sort of proof that they really were on track. Or on the flip side, they have been working diligently this entire time that they've been here. They're just really, 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 really slow with their pace. There are, I know that I saw one last year. How long has it been since I've been a life coach? 2 years? Whatever. When I was a life coach, I know I saw one that was really, really, really slow, like would spend 8 hours a week and would only make 3% progress. It does happen, right? Those are the types of circumstances where we can grant that we're not unwilling or unable, or we're not cold-hearted or anything like that. I just need to know in advance so that I'm not archiving and then you're like, this student was not meant to be stopped, or this student is upset because they came back from their coma and they can't continue, whatever the circumstance is, right? Just give me that heads up. Let's figure it out. Okay. The term 2 meeting. Again, I want to continue training and improving on everybody's knowledge. So the next thing that I want to go over is deactivating and reactivating student accounts in courseware, because that has been a big thing lately. If you have a student that currently needs to be deactivated, they're no longer with us. their progress is saved. It doesn't go away. It just means that the student can't log in anymore, which means that they have to come and talk to you. Amazing. But for now, just let me know who needs to be deactivated or reactivated, and I got you. It's not that difficult. And I just don't want to take up too much more time, so that's why I'm not going over it today. We'll also go over completing and dropping classes in courseware, which I know we went over last year, but I want to just make sure that we're all on the same page, know exactly how to do that. Same with approving credit in courseware. I am going to start really looking at who's earning credits, when, how long they take, those kind of statistics and data. So we do need to start approving the credit and then completing. And then I don't know what we're going to do with Exact Path. I still need to look into some other things with it. But I do want to do something with Exact Path, some more training. And that's going to be the next agenda. If somebody wants to add to that, feel free to send me an email. I can, like the different examples, I can do stuff on request. That's not a big deal. Some potential dates. And again, there's not going to be an answer today, or at least not within the next 11 minutes. But these are some of the days that I was thinking about. Friday, November 10th is an Excel exchange day. The Friday after that, Friday, November 17th, is a long Friday. The one caveat with the long Friday is that we have the 17th, like the week of the 17th, Thanksgiving, end of term 2, all in quick succession. So I don't know if that's going to be enough, especially if we do have some other questions that come up, or if that's going to be it's going to be a bit too much.
Same, they changed the date for the Wednesday, it should be the 20th.
For what?
It's October 18th, coaches meeting. We got a notification, it was on the 20th, a new notification. Just FYI,
Okay, yeah, I was not informed of that. So is that's a Friday then?
I guess that is a Friday, I thought it was the 18th, and we got something new.
Okay, well, whenever the coaches PD in Laporte is, that's the other day that I was thinking of. Just because obviously we'll all be together. That's a little easier to pull everything together. Just some things to think about. And again, the end of term 2 is December 1st. So sometime before that could be really, really early, give you a couple of weeks to digest and then get new information, or it could be later in term 2 where some other questions might come up. I don't care either way. I'll let you guys decide. And then other than that, questions. Got a bunch of head shaking over here. Anybody online?
I don't think we have any questions here.
Okay, that does make it easier. Tiny bit, just because I add it to all of my PowerPoints now. The training Google Classroom, if you want to use that, again, I upload every single tutorial that I have or have made and will make into there. I try to post new information as it pertains to the district as I go. Highly encourage signing up there. Other than that, that's all I had.
Thanks, Sam.
Not a problem. Bye. Of course.
It's about chairs, phones.